In the electric car world, there are two types of new electric cars out there. There are the high-volume mass-market cars designed for global or national sales. Then there are limited-volume electric cars made by automakers specifically for certain key market areas where legislation requires large automakers to build and sell a certain number of zero or low-emission vehicles. These second group of electric cars are known as compliance cars and, as such, are often given a hard time by EV advocates and EV fans. Good examples of high-volume mass-market electric cars are vehicles like the Tesla Model S, Nissan Leaf and Chevrolet Bolt EV, although lately I've heard an increasingly large number of fans erroneously argue the two latter cars and any other EV by a mainstream automaker is a glorified compliance car. They're not. A good example of a low-volume compliance car would be the Fiat 500e and the Ford Focus EV. In the past, there have been others too, such as the Honda Fit EV, the Toyota RAV4 EV, and the Chevrolet Spark EV. These vehicles are, in the case of the Fiat and the Focus, only sold in certain markets across the US, with no new sales outside of those areas, and limited after-sales support if you happen to live outside of the markets they were initially sold in. But here's the thing. While compliance cars are very limited in their availability, the automaker selling them is under pressure to ensure that they sell a certain number of vehicles, because if they don't, they'll either have to buy zero-emission credits from rival automakers at a high price, or just pay massive fines. This means that compliance cars usually come with some pretty great incentives in terms of lease or purchase deals in order to encourage people to buy them. And when these vehicles come off lease, they often hit the used car market at some pretty amazing prices. Which leads me to the question, should you consider buying a compliance car, either as a new vehicle or a used one? The answer depends on where you live and what your attitude to car ownership is, but you should know that many electric car fans shy away from such vehicles. The reason? Some don't want to support an automaker who doesn't fully support the mass production of electric vehicles, and others argue that they don't want to buy a vehicle when they mistrust that the automaker won't continue to offer after-sales support and service, even in the markets where those vehicles were first sold. Yet, while you might expect compliance cars to be pretty poor representations of what an EV can be, it turns out that they're pretty good as everyday drivers. At least some of them are. Take the Fiat 500e, for example. It might only have a 24 kilowatt-hour battery pack, the same as the original Nissan Leaf, and no rapid charging capabilities, but it's a little pocket rocket around town thanks to its diminutive size and 82 kilowatt front-wheel drivetrain. Sure, not everyone likes the Fiat 500 stylings or the small European form factor, but it seems the Fiat 500e suffers few major issues and can be purchased used from as little as $6,000. If all you need is a small compact electric car to get to and from work, that's a pretty decent deal. Moreover, it doesn't seem to suffer as much battery degradation as a similarly aged Nissan Leaf, since the Fiat 500e has an active battery cooling system. The same can be said of the Chevrolet Spark EV. Sure, it's not a big car, but the predecessor to the Chevrolet Bolt EV is known for its punchy acceleration and responsive drive. It's no Tesla, but it's similarly fun to drive around town and was available new with optional DC quick charging. Range is sub 100 miles, just like the 500e, but it can do longer trips at a push, and it's available for a similar price. And while it was technically a compliance car, you're going to find more Chevy dealerships willing to service it because the Chevrolet Bolt and Chevrolet Volt are now available nationwide, so it's hard to say no. The Ford Focus is a similarly decent drive, although less practical, thanks to a small load bay caused by the battery pack taking up some of the Focus's usual trunk space. In all three cases, these vehicles don't look all that different from their internal combustion engine counterparts, giving you something of a stealth EV if you're worried about standing out too much on the road. Of course, with the Ford Focus EV and Fiat 500e, as well as other compliance cars I haven't mentioned, service availability may be a bit of an issue if you're looking to buy outside of market areas where they were first available. That said, you may be able to find a local specialist garage willing to work on your car. Check before you buy, though, to avoid frustrations if anything goes wrong. How about other compliance EVs? Well, some aren't available to buy anyway, like the Honda Fit EV, while others require a more dedicated owner. The second-generation Toyota RAV4 EV is such a vehicle, with parts and service outside of the original California market where it's sold, proving extremely difficult. And while you can get extended warranties on certified pre-owned RAV4 EVs, there already are a few known problems, such as drivetrain and battery pack issues, that can be a major headache if you don't live near a dealership that can service it. In short then, well, if you live in a market where compliance cars are sold or were sold, they can provide cheap, affordable EV ownership options, especially on the used car market. And if you pick the right used compliance EV or have EV knowledge, you can live outside those original launch markets with a used compliance car. But do your research and make sure that you're prepared should anything go wrong. Do you own a compliance EV? How has your ownership experience been? And did you get it new or used? And what advice would you give to other prospective owners? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the notification bell to hear the moment a new show is uploaded. And if you want to help us make more of these videos, consider making a donation through Patreon or by using the Bitcoin link below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep evolving.